I'm Jason Smith, and welcome to this edition of The Author's Attic. Today we're joined by Gregory Squires, Professor of Sociology, Public Policy, Public Administration at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. Dr. Squires is here to talk to us today about community-based research and the Urban Research Network.
This is part of actually a broader effort on the part of a number of scholars across the country in various disciplines to try to encourage more community-based research. This is a group of folks who are engaged in this kind of research, and we're trying to encourage more of it. We have formed a network, the Urban Research-Based Action Network, or URBAN, to try to encourage more collaborative research involving academics, scholars, usually people who are connected with universities, working as colleagues in collaboration with nonprofit organizations and advocacy groups in their communities. We produced this paper as part of an effort to get traditional mainstream sociology journals to publish more of this kind of research. Part of our thinking is that we know that there are a lot of people who are interested in doing this kind of work, but they're also interested in getting tenure and getting promoted. And so they have to be careful about the kinds of journals where they publish in. And from our perspective, we see that the mainstream sociology journals generally have not published a lot of this kind of research. And we think that by working with editors and reviewers and with scholars, we can get more of this work placed in those journals. We think this will advance the very kinds of empirical and theoretical knowledge that those journals are trying to address, while also creating opportunities for people who want to pursue this kind of research, but also have career concerns that they're legitimately focusing on. By community-based research, we're talking about the kinds of work that people are doing, that academics are doing, university-based scholars are doing, in conjunction with and in collaboration with community organizations. So the scholar will sit down with the executive directors or the volunteers or the staff of these community organizations, and together we'll outline and define what the problem is, determine what the appropriate methods are that will be used, work together in analyzing and interpreting the findings, and then working together to pursue action that is justified on the basis of the findings. And an important element of this work is it's quite consciously designed to, number one, empower the community organizations, but more importantly, create meaningful social change. Part of what we often tell each other is we're trying to remind each other as to why we went to graduate school in the first place. And one of the reasons is we wanted to become the best social scientists we could be for the purposes of producing more knowledge. But we also understood, for at least many of us, that we didn't just want to understand the world we live in. To some extent, we were hoping to be able to change the world that we're living in. And understanding that community partners are an important source of knowledge, of expertise. They bring expertise and knowledge, empirical evidence and understandings that we don't often have if we don't work with folks like this. Often if scholars are embedded in these kinds of networks, they're criticized for engaging in what might be somewhat biased research, that we really need to have more of an arm's length, distant, more neutral relationship with the objects of our study. We don't accept that premise, actually, and as I said, we find that there's important new information, different perspectives, a different theoretical approach, simply more knowledge that we can obtain as scholars by working with people who have this expertise, and that this contributes to the triangulation that we often agree is an important part of traditional social science. This brings in another set of actors, another set of eyes, if you will, but most importantly, another source of knowledge and expertise that can enhance what we as social scientists are trying to learn about the objects of our research.